to be named later. I'm having a lot of those lately. But my guest, my co-host and host of this show is Adam Mendeloshn. He's the CEO and founder of Pickle Pals. However, we're going to something that really is something involving Holocaust education. He came on the Neil Haley show and talked about that, but he has some more updates for us. And this is what this podcast is going to discuss.
Yeah. So thank you for having me and letting me talk about this. This is something I'm very passionate about, and I just want to share the story that happened at the beginning of this year, and where those events have gone, and where things that are happening now as a result of that. Because I'm super passionate about teaching people's the dangers of hate. And rising anti-Semitism, and just educating people on the Holocaust. So, um, back in December of 2024, we had a meeting with all the presidents of Jewish Student Union. So Jewish Student Union is a in school, it's like a more of a public school organization that allows Jewish students to get together and just teach about Judaism, the holidays, what's coming up. We also do, like we do community events, just stuff like that. And it's not only for Jewish students, anybody could join. Actually, most of the students at my club were not Jewish, but it was still fun to go and teach people, bring food. It was just an amazing experience. And we were sitting at a meeting, me and all the other presidents of all the other clubs, and Rabbi Daniel, who kind of was the lead rabbi there, said, the goal this year is, because most of us were seniors, is to do something where we could make our mark, and leave, something to be remembered by. It's your last year in high school, and you want to do something that leaves a lasting impression on people before they go out to college into the real world. And so I did a bunch of research that night, and I knew that I wanted to educate about the Holocaust. And the reason I wanted to do that is because we see huge rising levels of anti-Semitism, and this was at the beginning of 2025, and just from then, and even from before, it's gotten tremendously higher. But I'm still trying to do my part, because hate of any kind is wrong and awful. But it's something that I know, have personally experienced anti-Semitism, and so it's something that I thought I could teach about, and help my fellow students understand. So I found an organization that was formerly known as Shadow Light, and it's currently known as Hate Ends Now. Sometimes when I say it fast, people don't know what I'm saying. So it's Hate Ends Now, and it is a nonprofit which has a replica cattle car from the Holocaust. And what happens is, on the inside, there are video projectors that teach about the horrors of the Holocaust, what happens when hate becomes unchecked, and it goes through the accounts of two Holocaust survivors, of what it was like for them in Auschwitz, and as two survivors that tell their testimonies from being in the cattle car to eventually surviving, but everything that they experienced. And so I knew this was something that I'd have to bring to my school and to my community. So I reached out to them, and I got in contact with an amazing man. His name is Todd Cohen. He's the CEO of Hate Ends Now, and we basically figured out a date for the beginning of January. January, it was the week of January 6th, 2025, and basically the whole end of 2024. So like November, December, I was basically planning this. So I guess that meeting was a little bit earlier, because I remember all over like winter break, most kids were going out having fun. I was at the computer taking calls from, I'm not kidding, 7 a.m. to maybe 8 or 9 o'clock at night, trying to make this work. And it required a lot of, coordination. I had to get the school to approve. I had to get the district to approve. I had to make sure that kids could go through it. Did they need permission slips? What, like, it took a lot of planning. And thankfully, I had the support of my school. I went to Edgewater High School. They were so supportive. The principal, Dr. Andrew Jackson, was an amazing help. And there were so many people at that school that made this possible. But outside of the sport, I also had to raise $30,000. So the cattle car a day was about $5,000 to rent out, because of the generators, because of the educators, housing the educators, bringing the artifacts. I mean, there's a lot to this exhibit. And so it was $5,000 a day on top of the community night that we were going to have on January 9th, Thursday. So I basically reached out to anyone and everyone. I reached out to Massey, their big organization in Central Florida, the Ginsburg Family Foundation, Dr. Phillips Charities. All these people came together, and this wasn't just one day. I mean, this took a lot of time filling out forms, making this go through, and we raised the money. I mean, it took a long time, but again, so I have all the sponsors here from that, and this was back in January, but I'm still so grateful for Massey, for the Ginsburg Family Foundation, Dr. Phillips Charities, the Jewish Federation, Asher Group, the College Map, Office Depot helped us, Bulk Office Supply, my math tutoring nonprofit helped. I mean, and then there was tens of families that gave substantial amount of money to make this possible, and then we also had people like individuals donating small amounts because those small amounts added up. But so the cattle car then gets to Edgewater High School, and I mean, it is the most. I couldn't even describe the feeling because I spent months planning this and making it happen. Seeing that cattle car was, I mean, incredible. Like knowing that I was about to educate so many people. I was struck with a lot of emotions. Like I was very happy to see the cattle car. I was heartbroken to know what the cattle car represented, but at the same time, I was like happy that I could help, but also it was just a very big mix of emotions. And from that point forward, I mean, I spent hours printing and signing 1,500 permission slips and sorting them out for the teachers, and having to organize all of this was a lot. So I want to also mention outside of the cattle car, there are 25, there's more than 25, but they bring about 25 real artifacts from the Holocaust to teach people. So we have like an authentic striped pajama set. We have an authentic star. They used to make Jews wear stars, yellow stars in their clothing to be recognized. Um, and there's just tens of other artifacts. I mean, and they all tell a different story. The whole point of this exhibit is to tell a story, and right, each one of these artifacts tell a very interesting story. There's a clock from Connecticut with Hitler's face on it. We're talking in the United States, from
Wow.
in Connecticut. So this isn't just being produced in Nazi Germany. This is like a global thing, and each one again tells a story. So the cattle car's there, and we start having classes go through, and it is one of the most impactful experiences. I mean, I did a poll after this event, after this week. It was there for the week. So it was there from Monday. We didn't have school, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, we had community night, and Friday. We had 1,500 students go through the exhibit. There's only 2,000 kids at Edgewater. So the fact that in that week we had, we had more than three-quarters of the school go through, it was a huge, huge, huge success. I mean, 1,500 kids in 4 days. It was so challenging, but I had to line up all the schedules. I had to make it. I don't know if I'm really explaining it well, but going through lining up all the bell schedules with the amount of time, how long it takes to be in the cattle car, teaching each artifact took a lot. And then on the part that I really, really love to talk about is the community night. So I have a few pictures that I'd like to share. And just so the viewers can also see what this cattle car looked like, and to also teach about that community night, because what happened there and some of the things on that night it's hard to explain how incredible everything was. So this is what the cattle car looked like. This is people stepping into the cattle car. It looks authentic. It is on wheels, so it can be transported. It goes around the United States and Canada. It goes from district to district, and people were going in and learning. On the inside, you can either sit down or stand. And on the inside, I want to show some things. You can see on the floor that there are different types of feet. I mean, this is all part of the educational experience, right? There's small shoes, big shoes, flat shoes, heels, because people didn't know where they were going. And this is all part of that
Wow.
educational
Yeah.
experience, is teaching people, right? And then on the walls, I don't know if you can see it in this picture
Yeah.
exactly. You can see the rings that were used for the like for cattle. I mean, they were literally cattle cars. I mean, this exhibit tries to go through everything, and this car holds about 35 people comfortably. Now, again, there's a big explanation of how Jews were not fit comfortably in these cattle cars. It's just so that kids are able to see everything, or not just kids, but anybody's able to see and learn from it. But they would stick 100 people in these cattle cars, not dressed. I mean,
Oh.
you couldn't go to the bath. It was total horror and abuse. And so just teaching that to children to give them some perspective is very very important, and that's why I do this. And you can see this stuff on the roof for the videos. It's a 360-degree video projection. I'll try to find a picture of that. And then there's also something I want to show. This is one of my favorite pictures from the event. This man right here, his name is Lou Ziemba. He's actually a Holocaust survivor, and he came to the event and spoke on the community night on Thursday. And he was someone, I mean, this is just so impactful to see someone who survived the Holocaust looking at something that is now being taught to people so it can never happen again. And I mean, this is just one of the most impactful pictures of the night, in my opinion.
No
So
doubt. Yeah.
I know, I mean, it was just such an the experience, and there was over 500 people that came. And then some of the artifacts that were shown, I'm sure I can show, I'm hoping I can show some of these. This is like the striped pajama set that they used to make Jews wear. I don't know what I am and I'm not
Oh.
allowed to show on YouTube, so I
No,
hope I
that's
don't.
fine. No, that's okay. You can show that. That's fine.
Okay, so yeah, and these are some of them. There's the sticker of the Jew that I was of Jude, which means Jew that I
Oh.
was talking about that were stuck on Jewish people, and
Oh.
there are all these articles of Adolf Hitler, and the crazy thing is I don't see a picture
Wow.
here, but there's children's books. You get to see what kids were learning, Jewish passports. I mean, this exhibit it brings people out with a renowned understanding and a much more deeper emotional connection that I hope can change the way that people, when before people post or say things, um, around Jewish hate or just hating people in general, the things that people went through, and they're having to go through again that they never thought in their lifetime they would. It's pretty heartbreaking. So this night we had 500 people come. We only had 100 and something slots, or almost 200 slots for people to go through. But we had 500 people show up, and we had some very prominent individuals show up this night that I want to highlight. So, first of all, I'm going to go through the pictures and try to find them while I talk, but I don't know if I'll be able to. We had our school board member, Stephanie Vanos. She represents District 6 of Orange County Public Schools. She came. It was my first time actually meeting her, and she was so supportive. And eventually she gave me a great recognition with the school board later on, and she's been supportive of the project that I'm working on now. And so I'm very grateful for her. And then we also had we had elected Representative Maxwell Frost, who is the youngest member of the United States House of Representatives. He came down, pulling up that picture. That's Maxwell Frost right there. I'm going to look for another picture of us. So here's the picture of all of us. So that's what my hair used to look like. For people I know, that'll probably be the most shocking part of this whole story is what my hair actually used to look like back in January. But
Right.
on my right here, this is Representative Maxwell Frost. And then on my other side, this is Representative Anna Eskamani from the Florida House. So we had two individuals come down. They're both Democrats. I don't say that because I'm trying to support one side or another. I also have other Republican constituents coming in a second. I'm just saying to show that we had support from both sides of the political aisle, which was extremely important to me to show that the worry and the fear of rising anti-Semitism and hate is not okay. So we had Democrats, and then I'll pull up a picture of the Republican constituents in a second, and then we also have my amazing principal, Dr. Andrew Jackson, there. So we had I'm looking for the pictures now. They're not in order, so I apologize. But we had Senator Rick Scott's office make an appearance. Senator Rick Scott actually sent me a letter later thanking me for my work. I remember getting it in the mail and being so shocked. And he's a Republican. So let me pull up that
Oh.
picture now. He basically, his office came, and I wasn't expecting much, right? I just wrote emails to all of these offices telling them my goals, what I was doing, and to see the amount of support that came from people was insane. So this is Mr. Barry Cotton with Rick Scott's office. They came, and then we also had support from Senator Randy Fine. Just both sides, polar opposite ends of the political spectrum, came together to support this event. And so out of those are just some of the incredible things that happened that night. We had the press. We had I have an article written about it from AISH, which is an international organization. I have the Jewish Telegraphic Agency from Australia. I had tens of news stations coming, and you can look up the event a little bit more in detail if you want to read a little bit more. If you look up Adam Mendeloshn, Edgewater High School, or Hate Ends Now, you can see all the details that even more in depth. Even though I feel like I've been talking a little too much, there was a lot here. And then one of the last parts of this event that I haven't even touched on yet was the reflection room. And this is from the opposite end, but this is a pile in this picture of 1 million paper clips. And each paper clip is about an inch long, and this is a million paper clips. So story behind this also very, very interesting. I get a call from Beth Londa, Dr. Beth Londa, I apologize, who is Lou Ziemba's wife, the Holocaust survivor's wife. And she says, Adam, have you ever heard of the documentary Paperclips? I said, no, I haven't. So I went and I watched it, and it was about a school in Tennessee that taught their students, a very rural town, about the Holocaust by collecting paper clips to give the students some perspective on what 6 million Jews being killed looked like in the Holocaust. So they collect paper clips, and they had people from around the world sending in paper clips that represented their family. It was one of the most impactful documentaries I've ever seen. I recommend everyone go and watch that documentary, Paper Clips. It's an older, much older documentary, but it's really, really great. So this happened Sunday night. And I remember looking online how much it would cost to get 6 million paper clips at my event, which was on Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days later, right? And it was like $40,000. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that'll be a separate event to, recognize, to remember that documentary. And then I looked up the paper clips in bulk. I looked up like BULK bulk paper clips, and this company came up called Bulk Office Supply. And I remember the paper clips were tremendously cheaper, like way less than half the price. Like it was like the best, I apologize, best price I've ever seen. And so I try to call them. It's Sunday, they don't answer. I call them on Monday because we don't have school. And oh, sorry, they don't answer Sunday. I then look up their CEO. I do a little bit of stalking online, and it's a man by the name. Oh, sorry, let me pull it up. I apologize. I have his name. I don't know why I'm blanking. Levy Holler's the current owner, and I'm totally blanking on his name. It's so messed up, but it'll come into my head in a second. I totally apologize. I basically find the man and I look him up on Facebook, the owner. And it says that he's wearing his profile picture as a hat, and he has a hat on it that says never again is now, and he's a Jewish guy. And so I message him on Facebook and I'm like, you're not going to believe this. I'm working on a project and your company has the best priced paper clips. And I was hoping that we could connect because you have something that maybe we could find a way to like make this possible. And he goes, unfortunately, Adam, I actually just sold my company to my good friend Levy Holler. And I remember his name. His name is Alex Minzer. I totally feel like a jerk for forgetting that. Just going through this whole story. It's been a lot. His name was Alex Minzer. I go to his Facebook, wearing that Never Again is Now hat. I reach out, says I sold my company to my good friend Levy Holler. He'd like to connect with you on Monday. I said, perfect. My
All
cattle
right.
car's there. I'm talking to Levy Holler, and he goes, I'm very impressed by your initiative. Mind you, Levy Holler lives in Jerusalem. He's not even in Florida. And um, he basically says, I can't get you 6 million paper clips in 4 days, but there's a manufacturer in South Florida by Tampa that has 1 million paper clips that I could get you, but you'd have to get transportation there. I said, okay, how much does it cost? I'll cover it. He said, I'm going to cover it. It's over $2,500 worth of paper clips, but because of your initiative and what you're doing, I'm going to cover the cost of paper clips if you can get transportation. So I immediately start calling, oh, mom, I have to go to South Florida. I have to go get these paper clips. We have to make this happen. I'm always go. If we could do it, let's make it happen.
Right.
Time is so limited. And my dad goes, Adam, you're not going to believe this. I have a meeting in South Florida. I get back Wednesday, and the meeting is 15 minutes away from the manufacturing plant. I was like, are you kidding? So he's driving his Ford Raptor truck, and he goes to this manufacturing plant, and they put all the paper clips into the back of his car, like in boxes. It was like a hundred
Oh
and
my
something
gosh.
boxes, and each box had like 1,000. It was crazy. So my dad gets back. This is Wednesday night before community night, or no, Wednesday afternoon. Mind you, I haven't gone to school once this week. It's been go, 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 making sure people are where they're supposed to, making sure everything works. Wednesday night, my dad pulls up. He reverses up to the school in his car, and he has over 100 boxes of paper clips. And so I was like, okay. I spent the next 24 hours opening these boxes of paper clips. There was a box. In each box, there was rows,
Uh,
and in each
oh
row,
my
there was a
gosh.
box of just 100 paper clips to get to a million. 10,000 boxes
Wow.
this big. So that pile took hours, and I had people coming in and helping me, and then eventually that night my dad came and we basically spent hours opening these and building this pile of paper clips. And in front of the paper clips, there was a piece of paper, and it read, I'm pulling it up. I don't know if, oh, there it is. Uh, a moment to lives lost. That's one of the paper clips. Before you stands a
Okay.
pile of 1 million paper clips. Each paper clip represents a single life taken during the Holocaust, a father, a mother, a child. 1 million lives, each a unique universe of hopes, dreams, and potential now gone. Yet even this enormous pile only begins to tell the story. Take the number before you and multiply it by six. 6 million Jewish men, women, and children were systematically murdered during the Holocaust, targeted solely for who they were.
Oh my
Imagine
gosh.
this pile 6 times larger to grasp the scale of this unfathomable loss. Now multiply
Wow.
it by 11. Over 11 million lives were lost between 1941 and 1945. Jews, Soviet prisoners of war,
Oh my
Polish
gosh.
civilians, disabled
Mhm.
individuals, Romanian people, political prisoners, LGBTQ individuals, resistance fighters, and countless others caught in the storm of hatred and war. There were innocent lives torn away, not just from themselves, but from their families, their communities, and our world.
My
This pile
gosh.
is more
Yeah.
than a representation. It's a testament to the overwhelming cost of hate and indifference. Let its weight rest heavily on your heart. Let its magnitude remind you of the value of every single life, and let it compel you to stand against hate, intolerance, and justice whenever they arise. Never forget, never again. And this was what there was video footage of the camps and of what was going on behind the screen. It was a room for just people to be quiet and to reflect. It was a dark room, and people just had time like this to go in, reflect, sit down, and just take a minute. And this was all done in 4 days. And
My
this is
gosh.
why I'm
Yeah.
a believer of getting things done. I don't know if you want to comment on that, but you can get,
Yeah.
if you want to get something done, you can get it done in 4 days.
Yeah. That's your work ethic, and this is an impressive stuff. Where can people find information on this more and can be involved in
People
this?
can find much more information about this. And this is only the beginning of the story. I mean, I know I've talked a lot, but
Yeah, we can
I'm
talk
so
next.
excited to
We're
tell
to the
more.
next
A
podcast.
hundred, a
Yeah,
hundred percent.
on
So people
yeah.
can find more about this specific story on if they look up Adam Mendeloshn, Hate Ends Now, and then they can reach out to me. They can find me on LinkedIn. If anybody ever wants to join in, see what the new initiatives are, reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn at Adam Mendeloshn, and reach out to me. Feel free at any time, any day.
All right, Adam. Appreciate it, sir. That
Thanks.
was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the podcast.